Welcome to New York Got Game.
Happy holidays! We've made it to Christmas week and we're delivering you an early Christmas gift with this week's episode of New York Got Game. On this special Christmas theme episode, we're going to be focusing on the New York Knickerbockers, who are playing a matinee Christmas Day matchup with the Bucks as they were looking to knock off Milwaukee for the first time this season. They're 0-3 against the team right now. This week, we've got a special guest joining me in studio. We're going to get right to it.
The Knicks are heating up.
Christmas, it's a time where everyone, if you are not a Grinch, has some joy and hope in their heart. It's also a time where people enjoy giving and receiving gifts. Sports fans, they love gifts too, and considering the New York Knicks are currently in the middle of the Eastern Conference, I thought that this episode would be a perfect time to discuss some gifts the Knickerbockers could use and how likely these gifts are to be given. Joining me for hopefully a Merry Knicksmas is one of the hosts of the Knick of Time Show, my guy, Ryan Gale. Ryan, what's going on, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You know, Brooklyn in the house.
Yes.
Visiting my parents for Christmas, New Year's. So, I'm happy to be here, man.
Well, I'm glad you're here because you're a fellow Brooklynite. For folks that don't know, Ryan, I've been on his show, Knick of Time Show. Ryan is out in Naptown in Indianapolis, but he's back home for the holidays, so I had to have you here. Always, for me, I tell people this all the time, when we get a fellow Brooklynite here, and on the desk here in the studio, it's always, you know how we do.
Of course.
It's always a good time. Brooklyn is always in the house. But we're here to talk about some Knicks basketball. I got to ask you because, it's Christmas and this is dropping Christmas week. How has the holiday season been for you? Has it been stressful? Have you been in the stores? You've been staying out the stores? How's it been for you so far?
Honestly, the holiday season hasn't been that stressful for me. A lot of my shopping I did online, pretty much. And, me being in Indiana right now, I just pretty much been like, you know what? You're going to get these gifts shipped to you, and that's that.
That's it.
Exactly.
We're not doing much more than that.
Exactly. Got to lessen the stress.
You got to. I've been fortunate to stay out of the stores this holiday season, but we want to wish everybody a happy holiday out here. So, Ryan, what we're going to do here is we're going to give some gifts to the Knicks fans. That's what we're going to do. That's what you're here for. You're almost going to be like the Knicks Santa this year. Going to have you giving some gifts. So I thought a lot about gifts that the Knicks could use. And as you know, things changed in the last week when news came out about Mitchell Robinson, who's likely done for the season. We know that the Knicks, they applied to the NBA for a disabled player exception. Yeah. That's worth $7.8 million. Now, they're currently very thin at the center position. So for Christmas, are you going to gift Knicks fans a serviceable center to hold it down for the rest of the season? And what center should Santa, which in this case would be you, what center should Santa bring the Knicks fan?
Of course, the Knicks need a center because at the moment, with just iHeart as pretty much the only serviceable center that they have. And don't get me wrong, I like Jericho Sims, but Jericho Sims is undersized. He struggles against bigger guys. I think on a road trip, the West road trip against Nurkic had 15 and 10 in the first half with Sims starting at center, and also Zubac also hit him with a double-double. Anthony Davis, even though he didn't play in that game because he was injured early, with Taj Gibson coming in, Anthony Davis dropped 30 and 10 on the Knicks' head. So iHeart's going to have to play the lion's share of the minutes. And I don't think that's sustainable throughout the season, especially, with the Knicks and their aspirations, going into the playoffs and hopefully making it past the second round. So the Knicks definitely have to go after a big. And for me, the one that makes the most logical sense is Kelly Olynyk.
Okay.
Because he's a veteran center. He's on a bad team with the Jazz. He's an expiring contract, so maybe the Jazz may want to get, a couple second-round picks for him. The Knicks can trade Fournier because that makes sense. So the Jazz would get an expiring contract. Fournier got 2 years left in his contract. But it's a club option. So the Jazz could easily just opt out of the contract and release the money anyway. Knicks maybe only have to give up maybe a couple of second-round picks. And they bring in Olynyk, a guy that he has proven that in a competent defensive system, he can actually defend. You're not going to have the rim protection, but right now without Mitch, there is no rim protection anyway. So with Kelly Olynyk coming in, you get a big that is competent. He's going to lessen iHeart's minutes, so iHeart doesn't have to play 35, 40 minutes a game. And on top of that, he gives you another look with the three-point shot, which, I think it would be good for the Knicks to at least, see how that would look like with the offense, but with having a big that can actually stretch the floor and hit the three.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, the most sense is Kelly Olynyk.
Kelly Olynyk, that is the gift from Ryan to the Knicks fans. I like Kelly Olynyk because for all the reasons you mentioned, right? Can help stretch the floor, serviceable big, wouldn't cost the Knicks too much. You know, the Knicks, there's been a lot of talk about, okay, how will they use Evan Fournier's contract? And here's a situation where they could use it to fill a need. And it also, I think that's the key you mentioned there too, Ryan, is it doesn't hurt their financial flexibility going forward, which I think you have to like. Okay, so I think that's a good gift for the Knicks fans because a lot of Knicks Twitter, they've been worried about, I know it's not called Twitter anymore, it's called X,
yeah.
But whatever. You know, they've been worried about what is this team going to do at center, so I think that's a good gift. Okay, let's move on. Now, Julius Randle, got to talk about him. He's been playing some of the best basketball of his career, in my opinion, very efficient. Jalen Brunson, also been impressive this season, particularly from downtown, shooting the ball better than ever from there. I think, and you know this, you're plugged into the fan base, I think fans would like to see both of these players make the All-Star team this season. Should Brunson and Randle both be All-Star starters this year, or will the Knicks fans only get one single stocking stuffer this year with just one of the two guys making the All-Star team in 2024? What gift do you think is more likely here for the Knicks fans? Randle and Brunson both going to the All-Star team, or just one of them?
Well, from my biased Knicks fan side, I'm saying that they both deserve to be All-Stars based on their performance this season. But if I'm being unbiased and I'm going by what I think the NBA will do with the coaches and, you know, the voting and things of that nature, usually the teams that are gifted more than one All-Star are the teams that are like, you know, top of their conference or near the top of the conference. So like teams like the Celtics, the Bucks, Nuggets, even the Timberwolves, who's having an amazing season, like teams like that. The NBA usually, and the coach is usually blessed with like, you know, maybe 2 or 3 All-Stars. And with the Knicks being currently tied for 4th with the Magic in the Eastern Conference, the Knicks might not get both of them in the All-Star game. It's going to be tough because Julius Randle's having an amazing season.
Yep.
Jalen Brunson's having an amazing season. And I do think Jalen Brunson deserves an All-Star bid. You know, that guy, last season, I think he was snubbed. This season, he's still putting up pretty much the same numbers. Maybe he's even better because he's shooting more threes, knocking in more threes from last season. So if I have to choose, I would want Jalen Brunson to get that nod, but me being a biased Knicks fan, both of them deserve to be in the All-Star game. Easy.
I'm with you. Be greedy. Let's be greedy here. Let's get 2. Why can't that happen? Let's be greedy and get there. I do think there's something to that with Jalen Brunson. I think a lot of Knicks fans, you know, you saw this. People felt that he got snubbed last year. Julius Randle has made it 2 times in 3 years, so he's been there. I think Knicks Nation would like to see him get his first All-Star appearance.
Yeah.
And look, Jalen Brunson's absolutely been deserving of it. There's no doubt about that. He's been fantastic this year, particularly shooting the ball from downtown. So you got to like what you see there. Speaking of shooting, Ryan, we know the shooting can come and go. R.J. Barrett, he was shooting the ball well from the three-point line before he was sidelined with migraines earlier this season, but then he hasn't shot the ball as well since he came back. Quentin Grimes, we saw him go through a slump. Then he was benched. Here's the question. We're talking about gifts. Will the gift of shooting from downtown return for either of these players, and which one do you think is more likely to regain their touch as we turn the calendar to 2024?
Well, when it comes to regaining touch, I'm more confident in Quentin Grimes because he's the actual shooter. You know, he's a career 38% three-point shooter. And I think in his last 5 games, he's struggled. I think he's shooting 7 of 22 from 3, which is like 32%. So, and then on top of that, you know, the whole issue with Grimes early in the season saying that he doesn't feel like he's getting enough touches and was moved to the bench as a result, which I think it fits him coming off the bench because I've seen better play from him since he's been coming off the bench and he's getting more touches, etc. But you have to trust Grimes shooting. You know, Grimes has proven that when he's on fire, he's on fire. He can knock in threes easy. R.J. Barrett is not really a shooter. You know, with R.J. Barrett, you're going to always have up and downs with R.J. Barrett when it comes to shooting. So with R.J. Barrett, for me, the bigger concern for me is how he processes things, like when he drives to the basket, which I think he's done a very good job this season improving. Because when he drives to the basket, he's more methodical. He doesn't just, you know, have that tunnel vision going to the basket and just throwing up shots, you know, when there's like 2 or 3 defenders around him. He actually reads the defense better and makes better decisions. His floater game is better. He's finishing at the rim better. So it's that part of R.J. Barrett's game where it's like, and I forgot, he also throws a lob pass good too when he drives to the basket. So with R.J. Barrett, it's like when that part of his game isn't working, then that's when I'm really concerned about R.J. Barrett. But overall, when it comes to shooting, I'm expecting Grimes to get back on track.
You think Grimes is the one that can get back on track? Real quick, what have you made so far of seeing the move to the bench? Because you kind of hit on that a little bit before, where he seems to be playing better. When he was in the starting lineup with two ball-dominant guys with Brunson and Randall, he seems to be a little bit more comfortable off the bench, and DiVincenzo now in the starting lineup. Did you like that move, or do you like where that's going now for the Knicks?
Honestly, I'm gonna be real about it. At first, I was against the move.
Yeah.
Because I saw what Grimes was capable of last season when he's in the starting lineup, and I felt like, okay, he's struggling, but the only way you can get a person out of their struggles is you stick with them. You know, have them fight through their struggles and get over the top. But when they made that move, and I saw how things worked out, it seems like Dante is more comfortable in the starting lineup playing with Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett, where he knows that he's not going to get the ball as much. Like, he's able to, I guess,
still play off that
exactly.
in a way, right? And even knowing that the ball's not, if the ball doesn't come his way for a couple of possessions, he still seems to be comfortable in that role. Grimes kind of came out and said he was not comfortable in that role, but he's looked a little more comfortable on the bench. It's something I wonder if the Knicks will stick to for the rest of the season. But for now, it looks good, right?
Yeah, for now it looks good. And the way it's going at the moment, the Knicks should stick with it because they're winning with Dante in the starting lineup and with Grimes coming off the bench. And with Grimes coming off the bench, he does seem more comfortable. He is getting more looks.
Yep.
He's getting up more shots, and he's still playing good defense. And I think with Grimes, you know, because he's one of the best defenders on the team, so I think if you could get him going with shots, I think that just steps his defense up a notch because he feels like he's more involved in the game. So I think for right now, yeah, I would stick with Dante in the starting lineup and have Grimes come off the bench.
All right, that was a move that head coach Tom Tibido made that seems to be working out well. Speaking of head coach Tom Tibido, look, you know this because we talked about this when I've been on your show, the Knick Of Time Show, when I've come on with you, right? A lot of discussion. Shout out to our guy, Lee Escobedo, who has changed his tune on Tom Thibodeau. But I've always felt that he's done a pretty solid job in terms of coaching this team, Ryan, and changing the culture of who the Knicks had been before. Knicks, they made the playoffs 2 times in the last 3 seasons. He's going to try this year to make 3 times in 4 years, right? 4 seasons. 2020, Tibbs signed a 5-year deal, and next season is going to be the last season of his contract. Would you like to see Coach Tibbs get a gift? Should he be gifted with a contract extension before this season is over? What do you say, Ryan?
This question right here is tough for me because Tibbs has a lot of good qualities about him. You have to give him his props. He pretty much rose the Knicks from the dead. You know, with his coaching, you know, the two of the last 3 years in the playoffs, it seems like it's going to be 3 out of the last 4 years with the way the Knicks are currently going. And I think the question with Tibbs is you have to think about it in this way. Do you think Tibbs can get this team past the second round? Like, do you think he's reached his ceiling with this team? Or do you think he could get, you know, this team a step further? And my thought process is I've yet to see anything that would tell me that he can get this team past the second round, especially the way the roster is currently constructed. So at the moment, I would be hesitant to give Tibbs an extension, especially if a better coach becomes available, like a Tyronn Lue or anybody or someone like that. Because I would definitely go to that coach and, you know, and have Tibbs just write out his contract and, you know, let him go. But that's the main question. It's the thought process of
It really comes down to, no, I hear what you're saying. It's more about time, the timing and where you think the team is along the timeline, if I hear you correctly, right? So it's, and I think a lot of that is probably still dependent on what the roster is, right, Ryan? So let me, to that point, do you, and you know, there's a lot of talk about trading for a star and all that. Do you think that Tibbs maybe is taking this current roster as far as it can go, but if there was an influx of talent, if there was a 1A kind of player, which has been a topic around the Knicks this past week. If there was a 1A kind of player here with Jalen Brunson, is Tibbs a guy that you think could take, with better talent, take them even further? Or is it more of a, I kind of need to wait and see a little more?
It's a tough
question. I know.
It's a tough question because I think with his current roster, it's about as far as he can take them because even this season, more than likely, the Celtics and the Bucks are going to be 1 and 2. So even if the Knicks get by the first round, they have to face either one of those teams. And so far this season, the Knicks have shown that they cannot beat either team. They've fallen short. And I think right now the Knicks are in a place where it's like they're a middling team almost, where it's like they could beat the average team. They could even beat some of the good teams. But like the great teams in the league, they're struggling against. And with this current, and with the way the roster is currently set up, I cannot see the Knicks going further than the second round. Now, if the Knicks bring in a star,
right,
then it's like, okay, do you want to stick with Tibbs and see how far Tibbs can take, you know, Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, and a third star on the team? Or do you just want to go with another coach and be like, you know what? If a good coach becomes available, do I go with this guy and see if he can bring this team over the top? So it's a hard decision to make. It's really something where it's like you have to really think about it and really look how things turn out and be like, okay, do you want to stick with Thibs or do you want to go in a different direction?
So this sounds to me like, Ryan, this is a gift you might be hesitant to give out in terms of the contract status. Okay, you're leaving that one in the bag. You're not giving that gift out just yet.
Exactly.
All right. This next gift I'm going to talk about. This one is going to be about timing, okay? And it goes into what we're talking about just now. The Knicks roster at some point, they're going to have some changes. Just because when you look at the finances of the team and the fact that Jalen Brunson, he's going to secure the bag after next season. We all know he's going to opt out. He's going to get a big contract. Do you want the gift of the Knicks trading for a star to pair with Brunson? Do you want that gift to happen at the deadline this season, or should it happen in the offseason?
Ooh, yeah.
Come on, these were not easy gift questions. This is not what we do up here.
So here's the thing. Currently, right now, the Knicks are under the first apron. So they have some cap space to work with. I think right now when I checked, the Knicks are about 15, 16 million under that second apron, where it's going to be extremely difficult for them to make any type of moves to improve the roster. Jalen Brunson, you have to extend him. You have to keep him on this team because he's a vital part to the Knicks' success. So when you think about it, you're not going to be able to underpay Jalen Brunson with the current contract that he has. You're going to have to pay, like, for example, since we're talking about Christmas, on the Boondocks, where Riley was writing Santa that note, and he was like, Santa, pay what you owe.
You got to pay what you owe, Santa.
Exactly.
You're talking to me. That's one of my favorite shows, the Boondocks. Shout out to Aaron Magruder. Yeah, you got to pay what you owe. So you know that time is coming for Brunson. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So looking at it from that perspective, this offseason has to be the time when the Knicks actually make that move for that star player, because you want to bring that star player in before you extend Brunson, because once you extend Brunson, the Knicks are more than likely going to go into that second apron, and then from there it's going to be extremely hard for the Knicks to make any type of moves to improve the roster. So if you have a star, if you bring in a star that you think can definitely help Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle get over the hump and may turn the Knicks into a championship team, and then you have that window with all those guys there, whether it's like a 3, 4, 5-year window for them to get over the hump and have that championship run, you have to make that move, because if you're hesitant to make a move and then all of a sudden you're extending Jalen Brunson, you give him the money that he actually deserves, it's going to be tough, and then you might end up with a team where it's like, the ceiling might be second round in the playoffs and can't go no further. And
that was the thing. I remember the last time I came on with you guys on the Knick of Time show, you were bringing up that point and talking about the second apron, and we were discussing that and was saying that once you get to that second apron, folks, you need your team to be in the position of championship contenders, because it becomes very expensive. So you don't want to pay a lot of money for a salary for a team where they're not getting to conference finals or even beyond. You need to be in that contender status. So it sounds to me like you're willing to see if it doesn't have to happen for you by the deadline, but you would say at least by this offseason, if we're going to give the Knicks the gift of trading for a star. And you got to choose that star wisely, Ryan.
Exactly.
We talked about that. You got to choose that one wisely.
Definitely.
So we will see. Okay, we've been given some good gifts. This is the last gift. Last thing we're going to do here. Knicks fans, they saw some success last season with the team reaching the second round of the playoffs. But as we were just talking about, fans, they want to see a deeper postseason run. They don't want to see them just go to the second round of the playoffs. So here's the gift. Can the Knicks have a deeper run in the 2024 playoffs? And would the Knicks reaching the Eastern Conference Finals or beyond, I'm giving Knicks fans some hope, would that be the best gift that a Knicks fan could receive right now? If I told you, hey, this gift is going to be a run to the Eastern Conference Finals or possibly beyond to the finals, would that be the best gift that a Knicks fan could receive this Christmas?
See, if this Knicks team makes it to the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals, that's the type of gift where it's like, you know what, you don't owe me a gift for the next 3 seasons. Because with this team, if you make it to the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals, to me, you overachieved. So with that being said, I might have to be Santa, and drop a few coals here and there on,
Sounds
Knicks
very Grinch-like. Okay.
Yes, on Knicks fan dreams, because with this team, how it's currently constructed, I can't see the Knicks going past the second round. If they run into the Bucks or the Celtics, it's going to be tough for them. And as much as I would love for this Knicks team to reach the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals, and if you talk to Lee for the Knick of Time show, he definitely thinks that this team they have the capability to actually make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. But, you know, I'm a person where, you know, I more look at, like, logic and statistics. Are you out here saying
Lee is not being a realist?
he knows what I think about it too.
He knows.
Exactly. You know, like I go by the eye test of what I'm seeing right now. If the Knicks can't beat the Celtics and they can't beat the Bucks in the regular season, I don't know how that's going to change in the playoffs.
Let me play. I'm not being Grinch or anything, but let me not push back on you, but let me just try to further that. Let's say they had the gift of going to the Eastern Conference Finals or the Finals. That could help the previous gift we were talking about, which might say, okay, now we really got to push to go get a star. Or we really feel like we have something cooking what we have and we kind of know what piece we need. It's almost like that run could let you know, but it will also be fair. Maybe this is what you're kind of going to. Could also be fool's gold. And you might have overachieved and think that you're better than what you are. And there's a whole thing. So do you think it would be a good or a bad thing if that happened, if they had a run to? Is it good? I think it would be a good thing for fans. You win, you get more experience. But how do you feel about that if that gift were to occur? And let's just say they got to the Eastern Conference Finals. Is that a good thing for the Knicks?
I believe it is a good thing. I mean, any time where you make it far in the playoffs, it's good because, you know, you have everybody that gains experience. And the Knicks are a young team. So this would definitely help, you know, experience-wise, you know, with the young guys on the team, you know, having that experience of making it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Here's the thing, too, though. Like, with the team, if they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, I think it may alter what they're looking for. So, because for me, if the Knicks make the Eastern Conference Finals, that means, for me, Julius Randle is finally having a great playoffs. He's playing like himself in the regular season. So that's an extreme positive right there. Jalen Brunson is being Jalen Brunson in the playoffs. And I think for the Knicks to make it that far, they need that third option. So for me, it's like R.J. Barrett is stepping up, and he's providing that third spark that the Knicks need. So right then and there, you see growth in Julius Randle because he's actually producing in the playoffs and helping this team go far. And you see growth in R.J. Barrett because he's actually stepping up to the plate. So now you're looking at that, you're like, you know what? Maybe R.J. Barrett can be that third piece that we need, you know, to supplement Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. So maybe you're looking at it and you're like, okay, maybe, because for me personally, when it comes to like a star, you know, to come to the Knicks, I'm looking at the wing area because I think that's where
you feel like they need the most help.
Exactly,
right.
Because I feel like if the Knicks get a defensive wing, you know, a guy can just shoot the three, and it's a bonus if he can actually like create his own shot and create shots for others. I think that would be the perfect piece for this Knicks team. But maybe with the growth of R.J. Barrett, the growth of Julius Randle in the playoffs, maybe you're looking at it differently. Like, you know what? Maybe we don't need that star wing. Maybe we just need like a solid wing. You know, a solid 3-and-D wing where, you know, he's going to defend, he's going to shoot the three, and he doesn't need the ball to be productive. And then you just have Barrett, Randle, and Brunson just do their thing. So
you're right. A deep playoff run, if that is the gift, could tell you a lot about either what direction you want to go with the team or you don't want to go to the team. So it's a lot. Look, you know what? We gave the people some good gifts. You know, there was one you kept in the bag, but we gave the people some good gifts. You weren't a Grinch for Knicksmas. We were pretty good about this. I think everybody's hoping the Knicks have a good Christmas with a win over the Bucks on Christmas Day. I think that would be nice. But what you could do to be nice and not be a Grinch in Christmas time, you can support this guy, Ryan, and the rest of the Knick of Time Show crew. They do a great job talking about the Knicks. Check out their postgame show. I've been on with you guys a couple of times. I'm sure I'll be back this season. Ryan, man, I appreciate you coming through for the show. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Thank you for coming through. Appreciate you, man.
Merry Christmas to you. Can I add one more thing?
Sure you can.
Yes, I just want to big up the whole Knick of Time Show crew. Jay Ellis, Lee, Ebony. Also got to shout out the day ones, Edson, Sean, Kathy, who were with us in the beginning. And also want to shout out Raw Hebrew as well because he helped out as well for one season. So I just want to, you know, shout them out and let them know that, you know, I appreciate them and, you know, we all do a good job and, you know, just, you know, keep going the podcast.
No, you guys do. You keep growing. The whole shout out again to the whole Knick of Time Show crew. They do a fantastic job. You know, I love coming on with you guys and talking Knicks hoops. So I was always glad. Jay Ellis has been up here. You've been up here on the show. So we'll get some more people from the crew up on the show. But I love what you guys are doing. Like I said, Merry Christmas to you. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. All of that. And we'll see if some of these Knicks gifts come true. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to you too, man.
All right.
New York Gut Game is on fire.
Yeah, that's right. We are on fire this holiday season with the best digital show covering New York hoops to the fullest. That does it for this episode of New York Got Game. We wish all our amazing viewers a happy and healthy holiday season. Our next episode will be the final one of the calendar year. So, for my editor, Antonio Oliveras-Nicole, producer Lee Insler, and director Joe Masali, we got to bounce, but we'll see you next time on New York Got Game.
And thanks for watching New York Got Game. Boom shakalaka.